Hey guys, and welcome to yet another Gengo N3 grammar video. The 4 pieces of N3 grammar that we're going to be covering in this episode is KAKERU, KEKKA, kara ni kakete, and KAWARINI. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's learn some grammar.
死にかけの虫ってのはなんでここまでしつこいんだろうね。
So, kakeru is an interesting piece of language where it's used to show that something is not yet finished, or it's kind of half done. It follows verbs in the mas form, and it can be seen as both kakeru or kake no, with the latter always coming before a noun. For example, nomi kake no kohi. This means a coffee that you're in the middle of drinking. So nomu is to drink, kakeru here is to be in the middle of something, nomi kake no kohi is a coffee that you're in the middle of drinking. This can also be used after momentary verbs, also known as shunkan doshi, to express being on the verge of that thing happening. Like for example, shini kakeru, to be on the verge of death. So it can have both the meaning of being in the middle of something or being on the verge of doing. So like seen here in Naruto, we have shinikake no mushi, so bugs or insects that are half dead. We can see here shinu in the mas stem, shini mas, shini kake, and then followed by no here to connect with the noun. So half dead bugs. Let's take a look at some further examples to give you a bit of a clear picture for how it's used.
それは黄色い可憐な花を用いたとっても可愛らしい作りかけの押し花だった。
我は貴様らがデビルと呼ぶ存在。20年前貴様に殺されかけた時に分離した我が半身をこやつから取り戻す。今こそ我が復活の時。
ブラックサンが崩壊して以来、私の記憶も崩れかけている。
この本だけ放り出されている。読みかけだったんだろうか。
ごめん。それで？さっき何か言いかけた。
Okay, so like we saw in Boku no Natsuyasumi, tsukuri kake no oshibana. So this means a half-made pressed flower. So you can see that the flower itself, the pressed flower, is half-made. It's not yet finished, right? That's what this kakeru here is expressing. Here in Tekken 4, we can see Devil talking about when Heihachi almost killed Kazuya, and he says, Korosare kaketa toki. So the time when I was almost killed by you, or the time where I was half killed by you. You can see that there's a connection with both almost and half. Here you could translate it either way. This next example from Beyond Two Souls doesn't really work with the half meaning, and you can see here we have kyoku mo kuzure kaketeiru. So this is your memory, kyoku, is also kind of on the verge of collapsing. Kuzure kaketeiru. So you could potentially think of it as it's mid-crumbling, but that's not necessarily natural English. Here, just my memory is on the verge of collapsing. Next here in Famicom Tante, we can see yomi kake datta. It was half read. So again, we can see it following the mas stem, yomi mas, yomi, and then followed by kake. Yomi kake datta. It was in the middle of being read. It was half read. So the person who was reading this book didn't finish reading it, and it was kind of left open. And finally, we can see here in Metal Gear Solid 4, I kaketa. You were in the middle of saying, or you were on the verge of saying. So in all of these situations, you can see that kakeru is used to express something either being in the middle of that action in a mas stem form, or on the verge of that action. You can see it used simply in the plain form, kakeru. It could be in the past tense form, kaketa. It could be in the continuous form, kaketeiru, or it could even follow the no particle to connect to other nouns, kake no noun. Just remember that here kakeru means to be in the middle of doing something or on the verge of doing it.
調査を続けた結果、兵器の開発に関与する 子供数人の存在が上がった。
So here we have KEKKA, and this is used after verbs in the past form and nouns following the no particle to express something being the result of that action or noun, kind of like as a result. This can be used with both positive and negative results. So, like for example, 勉強した結果 as a result of your study, your grades became better. 成績が良くなった. Or like 調査の結果 as a result of the investigation, perhaps something was discovered. So you can see here that it's following the past tense of the verb to express as a result of doing that verb. So like here in 13 Sentinels, as a result of continued investigation, 調査を続けた結果 followed by the result.
連続殺人者の精神に没入同化してしまった結果、猟奇殺人を犯してしまったの。
いろいろ調べさせてもらった結果、彼にも十分な適性があると分かってね。
あの時、お前は国を守るために剣を振るっていたな。その結果がどうなった？身をもって知っているはずだ。
Okay, so now if we have a look at these other examples, first we have Metal Gear Solid. As a result of being immersed and assimilated into the mind of a serial killer, here talking about Psycho Mantis. So here we have 精神に没入、同化してしまった結果. As a result of being immersed and assimilated into that mentality. The following result is he committed bizarre murders. Or like seen here in Persona 3, as a result of all of the various research I've done, いろいろ調べさせてもらった結果. The result is, I knew that he was well suited for the job. And like I said before, it can follow nouns with the no particle in between, or simply like here, sono, because you don't need to add another noun to sono, it already has one right there. So here, sono kekka, the result of that. So this is a pretty straightforward piece of grammar, and actually it's quite surprising that it even is a piece of grammar, because kekka by itself just means a result. However, when you see it following a past form verb, you can see that it's a result of that action. Or like when it's following a noun with the no particle, it's a result of that noun.
西暦12世紀から16世紀にかけ、メキシコ中央高原に強大で勇猛な王国があった。
The next piece of grammar we have here is something kara, something ni kakete. And this simply means from X to Y. It expresses beginning from a certain extent and then ending at a certain extent. So you may have learnt something kara, something made, and this means from until. However, the difference between that expression is when you use something kara, something made, that is very definitively showing where the end is. That's the function of made, to show where the end point is. However, in this expression, something kara, something ni kakete, this doesn't clearly express where that ending point is. It's just kind of like from here to there, but it could go even further. So take for example like seen here in Jojo, here we have 西暦12世紀 kara, from the 12th century, 16世紀にかけ to the 16th century. Now, like you can see here, it doesn't actually have to be kakete, it could just be kake. This is just a short form of kakete. Let's take a look at some other examples and see how it's used.
後頭部から同じにかけて縦1メートル横10センチ。
山のふもとから中腹にかけて鬼どもの嫌う藤の花が一年中狂い咲いているからでございます。
今夜から明日にかけてこの町に魔物が現れるわ。
Okay, so first here in Attack on Titan, we have from the back of the head to the nape of the neck. So here we have 後頭部からうなじにかけて. So very simply, we can see the first noun is followed by kara, from that noun, And then the second noun followed by ni kakete expresses where it's to. So just like we see here in Demon Slayer, yama no fumoto kara, from the foot of the mountain, chufuku ni kakete, up until the halfway point. And we can even see it here being used to express a time of day, from tonight to the point of tomorrow, konya kara asu ni kakete. So there is no definitive end when you use kakete, it just is showing that it is from tonight, konya kara, and it continues on into tomorrow, asu ni kakete. If you wanted to express until tomorrow, a very definitive end, instead of ni kakete, you would just use made. So hopefully that's a pretty straightforward piece of grammar. Something kara, something ni kakete is expressing from a certain point to a certain point. But the end of that point is not said in a definitive manner. This next piece of grammar is often seen translated in many different ways, but it serves the same function. It's used to express something instead of the other, whether some action instead of another action, or a noun instead of another noun. Simply follow a verb in the dictionary form with kawarini to express doing something instead of the verb that it follows. As in, instead of studying a textbook, kyokasho o benkyou suru kawari ni, study with video games. Or for example, to follow nouns with the no particle, like sarada no kawari ni, instead of salad, pizza o tabemashou. Let's eat pizza. So very simply, kawari ni means instead of, in place of, or even in exchange for.
あんたの代わりに俺が守ってやるってよ。
ばあさん。
そして悟空の代わりに先にヤムチャが復活した。
私の代わりに声を聞いて。森は私を憎んでいる。
女の子を売る代わりによくしてもらってるわけか。強いお友達に。
Like we can see here in Gintama, I will protect it instead of you, in place of you. あなたの代わりに俺が守ってやる. So I will do it in place of you. So here it's following a noun, あなたの代わりに. As well as we can see here in Dragon Ball, 悟空の代わりに instead of Goku or in place of Goku, 先にヤムチャが復活した. Yamcha was resurrected first. Or like seen here in Final Fantasy XII, instead of me, watashi no kawari ni, listen to the voice, koe o kiite. And then finally here in Lost Judgment, so you're going to be treated well in exchange for selling the girl. Onna no ko o uru kawari ni, in exchange for selling the girl, yoku shite moratteru, you're being treated quite well. So, very simply, kawari ni is used when expressing instead of something, in place of something, in exchange for something. So as a substitute for the first thing, the second thing. And there we have it, the next 4 pieces of grammar for the JLPT N3. I hope you guys found this video useful and an entertaining way to get accustomed to how the N3 is used. So hopefully these examples can help you remember how this language is used, both in seeing how it's used in context so you can see, this is the way it's used, but also perhaps giving you a kind of image to something that could help remember this piece of language. As always, an enormous thank you to all of the supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys. And if you want to join us on the Game Gengo Discord community and say hi to me, as well as all the other members we have in the community, then feel free to join us on Patreon. I'm generally around anytime to have a chat, so please feel free to say hello. As always, thank you so much, guys, for watching. And I'll see you all again next time. See ya.